First of all, thank you all for being here today. It's very important to all of us that this story continues to be told as information tumbles out. As you all know, 1 week ago, almost to the minute, I stood before you and walked you through the body cam video and what exactly happened on Tuesday, August 30th, and nothing has changed since then. The body cam video clearly showed multiple police officers armed descending into an apartment with an attack dog to apprehend a unarmed 20-year-old black man in the middle of the night while he was asleep. And as we all know, we saw that dog approach the room, and the police officer pull the dog back, open the door, and then within a split second, that police officer took the fatal shot that killed Donovan Lewis. We also know that officers, including one officer with his gun drawn standing right next to Officer Anderson, had a clear view of Donovan Lewis and did not discharge his weapon. Nothing has changed. And then after the fact, we talked about, the handcuffing of a fatally wounded individual, dragging him onto the floor, dragging him downstairs, not administering aid for well over 6 minutes. It was a sickening and shameful experience for Donovan and for his family. And so we're back here today. We are well aware that the city has announced that BCI is investigating. They've actually asked for the Inspector General to investigate, and we appreciate that. We think it's important, but we also think it is important to conduct an independent investigation because the reality is that video is never going to change. That video tells us all what happened on Tuesday, August 30th. It doesn't lie, it doesn't shade the truth, it tells us what happened. And these investigations need to reach a quick conclusion based on what we all saw on that video. Now, I'm here today, I said at the outset that we would be assembling the best team possible to achieve justice for Donovan Lewis. And what does justice for Donovan Lewis look like? Well, it looks to us like the criminal process has to take precedent, has to be involved, there has to be accountability and punishment here. The civil process will also be started in the not too distant future, and when somebody fatally shoots an unarmed individual and kills them, they have to face the consequences in the civil system as well. And of course, what does justice look like for Donovan? Justice looks like for Donovan putting a stop to these senseless killings in the city of Columbus and in every community across the United States of America. The question we've been asking after every one of these events happens is, hey, we can't allow this to happen to another human being. That's an important statement, but the question we should be asking is, why does this continue to happen in the United States of America? And it is our mission to find the answer to that question and to fix the flaw in the system. So today, I'm here with Donovan's family and Rebecca Duran, his mother, and Tariq Stewart, his brother, will speak to you briefly today. But before we get there, I indicated that I was putting together the best team possible, and as a result, we have added Michael Wright and Robert Gresham and their law firm, Wright and Schulte, to the team for the family. This law firm was a law firm that represented Andre Hill in the very successful effort that they had not too long ago. So with that said, I'd like to first introduce Michael Wright, and then you'll have an opportunity to hear from the family.
Thank you, and thank you, Rex, for bringing me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to help this family. I want to thank the community activists and the community organizers for standing up with this family. It seems like just yesterday I was standing up here in front of you all for the family of Andre Hill. And that really aggravates me. I'm really angry. I'm really sad. The Columbus Police Department has to stop this. They have to make changes in their policies and their procedures so that this won't happen anymore. It is, as Rex indicated, it's our job to hold the Columbus Police Department accountable. And we have to make them stop this behavior, this senseless, reckless killing of unarmed individuals. It must stop. It must stop, and it must stop today.
Now, before I ask Rebecca to step up here, I want it to be clear. No mother that has just lost their child wants to be standing in front of microphones like Rebecca is today. She is courageous and she is brave, and she understands that she must do this in order to get justice for her son Donovan. So with that said, Rebecca.
I'm not a great public speaker, and so good morning. I really am at a loss for words. If you want to ask questions, that's probably going to be the easiest way to do this, because obviously my goal is justice for Donovan.
First, Rebecca, just let us all express our condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
Just tell us a little bit about Donovan, first of all.
Donovan had the biggest heart. You'll hear that over and over again from many different people who touched him in his life in different places and in different ways, whether it's a teacher, a coach, one of his best friends. He cared about others. He was active in the community, both volunteering alongside the rest of us, and he also he wanted other people to be well. Whether he didn't have anything himself, he would share the last of, whether it would be food, money, whatever he had, to make sure that others were safe and protected to the best of his ability.
What kind of policies or programming, anything, are you really hoping comes out of Donovan Lewis's case? For example, we've got Andre's Law from Andre Hill. Where are you hoping that comes out of this?
To be honest, I'm still stuck in the grief part, but the obvious thing is that after Andre Hill, a lot of things have been put in place. There was a lot of talk, but there hasn't been really a lot of action. And I want to see real action. Not, I say it, it's a colloquial saying, don't talk about it, be about it. Let's see something happen, not just conversation and conversation. If I might add, something that I just realized recently is the coalition that was formed after that has to be voted into action. It should be an automatic. There should be no voting required in order for other people to start taking an in-depth view of any police-involved situation. Stating the obvious, the officer needs to be fired, not on paid leave. He's not on vacation. We're not on vacation. He sure as heck should not be either. I'm probably getting away from what you said, but I'm working on little sleep, so.
Thank you so much.
You said at the night of the shooting, and body camera footage was released this morning, that Donovan had some mental health problems and that you had sought help for him. Even
Consistently.
Can you elaborate on that at all? What steps you had taken to try and potentially prevent something like this from happening?
I took Donovan to every counseling, psychiatry, evaluation over 18 years of his life, that trying to get him help. He was special and he was different in good and bad ways from the beginning. It fell on deaf ears. I do believe that some of that was because of the color of his skin. I think that they shrugged it off as a discipline issue and not a true mental health situation. There were people that were amazing at helping him. Let me state that. There were people that really tried and really cared for him. But had we been able to get more help early on, even some of the charges that he has may never have been an issue.
And let's be clear. He's not dead because of any mental health issues.
Absolutely
He's dead
not.
because the police officers did not do what they were supposed to
Absolutely
do.
not.
They were reckless, and they did not handle the situation in a manner such that allowed Donovan to live.
The only reason why I'm willing to address his mental health issues is because one of our demands is to make more funds available to underserved communities and people of color. It absolutely, positively had no bearing on why he's not with us today, but it is important so that there aren't other kids in his situation or treated the same poor way that he was.
That's what Tariq said.
Yes.
As you guys can expect, over the past week, it's been tough. Like, yeah, I got you. The last week has been very tough. There's a plethora of like emotions, like from being sad to angry to fear, like the fear that it can happen to you as well. Like it's not okay. And over the time, I've been able to grieve and reflect, and I've been looking at pictures of Donovan and I, and there's one picture that stands out, like, and it's Donovan in I think like 2015, and when he's at a protest, and
Right there.
it's right here, and it's crazy to see that someone who's passionate and adamant about those type of things, like, that can happen to them as well. Like, he knew, like, this is not something that's he was oblivious to. We know these things happen, but we're still here asking the same questions. Why? Like, we've put in money, we put in manpower, like, and nothing changes ever. It's the same thing. Like, as people said last week was the third police shooting in 10 days. Like, it's not okay. Like, things do need to change, and we all know it. Like, so.
Tariq, what do you want to say to CPD and the police?
I just hope justice is served. In Donovan's name, for sure. Like, he deserves it. There's no reason he should be. There's no reason he shouldn't be here today. And losing him, like, not only affects us, but I don't think people realize how many, like, individuals Donovan has touched personally. Like, he got around. Like, he made sure you knew him, and he made sure he knew it was all love. Like, I'm upset that, like, nobody got to know him, and, like, especially in these last couple months. Like, I promise you, he's the most enthusiastic, like, hopeful, like, optimistic person you ever meet. And, like, in the past month or so, like, I've been able to talk to him a lot, and I was really liking where he was headed, but sadly, because CPD, like, people won't even get to see how great he could have been. And I'm not saying he's perfect, but I'm telling you, he was gonna be something, no matter what. But that's it.
In closing, in response to your question, we need to get rid of middle-of-the-night arrest warrants unless there's a dangerous exigent circumstance. We need to have police officers that are trained to come into these communities, that understand these communities. And we need police officers to be trained on how to take care of people that have been hurt at scenes. And finally, we need a quick end to this investigation. The video shows what we all know, and we need there to be conclusion for this family, for the community, for the city, and for the country. And we thank you all very much for being here.
One more question for Rebecca. I wanted to dip in a little bit. I imagine you've seen the body camera video of what happened after the shooting.
A lot of it, not all of it.
Not all of it. I just want you to address the rendering aid first.
That was one of, aside from my initial shock and how quickly they shot him, my next thing was that the delay of care. I asked someone for a specific time because, again, I was not able to watch past the bedroom. I don't want to watch past the bedroom. 6 minutes plus went by. I work in healthcare, and I know that the faster the aid is provided, the higher the likelihood of survival. And there was absolutely nothing done. There was egregious errors to the point of moving him around, knowing that he was shot. It was wrong. CPR should have been attempted immediately. I understand he was on a bed. He should have been moved to the floor to a hard surface carefully. Nothing they did to him was careful or kind, knowing that he was mortally injured.
Can you talk about why you picked City Hall for having this youth conference? You know, we're here. Are you trying to send a message to the city?
Not trying to send a message, but we're standing here in front of the building of the people in power that run this city. They have the ability to change the system like we're talking about right now. That's why we're here. So to a certain degree, it is symbolic, Luann, but that's the reason we're here. And I really appreciate you all being here today. I'm going to release the family so they can start focusing on funeral arrangements on Saturday. I think Ryan's got you all the details of the funeral, but I think it's been a really hectic, crazy week for the family, and they need to start to focus right now on saying goodbye to Donovan. So thank you very much.
Does the family want people to come to the funeral?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is open to the public.
You consider it an honor. We wanted to make sure.
Yes, honor who he was and what he fought for. He was an activist before he was the reason for the action.
So we are fine with the public showing up, and thank you very much again. Appreciate it.